Good morning, Kimberly Dawn here. And today's I'm about to help the world lesson is going to be on how to give feedback to make sure that your students actually feel motivated after you're done. Have you ever personally given feedback personally gotten feedback where you felt crushed? You're like, oh, I'm so terrible. I feel awful. And what the person is saying just makes me feel like complete garbage. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes hearing that kind of stuff or even giving that kind of stuff accidentally. Now, there is a massive difference between criticism and feedback. So there is a very easy formula. Most people have heard about it, but I've given my own little twist to help actually motivate your student. So let me share my screen, and then I will be able to work you through some very fast slides on how to get this done appropriately. Okay. So very, very fast slides. This is from the top instructor group that I run outside of this main page, but feedback. So the outcome of this lesson, very fast lesson, is by the end of this lesson, you will be able to give feedback that is to a student in a way that motivates them to work harder. And the four major areas that we're going to cover right now are the psychology of what's happening, feedback versus criticism, the feedback sandwich, and the breakdown of that feedback sandwich. Okay, so first and foremost, I'm not sure if you've ever watched any of my videos before, but I'm an obsessive consumer of the psychology of why people do what they do. So this involves every area of relationship between me and my students, me and my colleagues, me and my romantic relationships, me and my son, me and my family, everything. So I comb a lot of scholastic articles and academic articles on the psychology of different items. And this one, of course, is one of the ones that I looked at, but there's many more. So I don't even need to give you a list of that. Just Google it and lots of scholastic articles will come up on that one. And where we need to really start is feedback versus criticism. Okay, so criticism can very easily be boiled down to disapproval of poor performance. Okay, this is your parents going, I'm so disappointed in you. And feedback is similar information, but presented in such a way that I'm here to help you instead of I'm here to make you feel bad about yourself. So criticism is giving this like same information to somebody, but in such a manner that you're telling them that you're like, oh, I'm just so disappointed in you. That is not the way this is supposed to be done. That is not the way that you fly this exercise. It looks like we'll just have to spend another hour doing takeoffs and landings or whatever you're teaching. I teach flying. But feedback comes across in a much different way, and it's information on how to improve. Like, okay, I saw that. Here's where we go from there. Okay. And if you can understand the feeling of each of them, then that will help you understand the sandwich. Okay. So most of you have heard about the crap sandwich. Okay. So when you're telling somebody something, you're supposed to say something good and then something bad and then something good. But often this gets skewed, it gets misrepresented because someone will go, all right, well, here's some feedback. I really like your haircut, Kimberly. Your teaching is garbage, but nice shoes. It doesn't do anything. Your feedback sandwich, the good, the bad, the good, has to be very, very poignant and specific. So here are the steps. Instead of just going good, what needs work, good, or good, bad, good, each of them have to be incredibly specific. So let's break it down. Number one, the good, you need to actually connect with something they've overcome. If you are teaching somebody something, no matter what, whether it's my 9-year-old son and teaching him how to do the laundry, or it's my, 55-year-old class 1 instructor candidate that I'm teaching and he's, 20 years older than I am, it doesn't matter. The good has to connect with something they've overcome because psychologically in the articles that I've read, this shows that you are about to set them up for something they need to work on. But if you connect with something they've already overcome, you're setting them up for success by going, look, the work that you've done in the past works. Look, this is something you've had trouble with in the past and you've overcome it so that when you get to that, this is something that needs to work, they're already in a hopeful mindset. Alrighty. So when you get into the something that needs work, the steps are, it needs to be maximum of 3 items because psychologically, the science says that your brain can't hold more than that. And when you give a maximum of 3 major items and potentially also 3 minor items, you have to have very specific ways to correct it. The worst possible way to give feedback is, that's good, or it needs work. Well, what needs work? It's unactionable. Alrighty. So if you give them something they've overcome, this isn't, Kimberly, you have nice hair. This is the beginning step. This is not a transparent compliment that just means nothing. This is, all right, Kimberly, do you remember when you were having a lot of trouble with aim point exercises on your descents to landing in the airplane? And it took a little bit, but you did a really great job of that today. Your aim point exercises, your aim point judgment today was outstanding. It's clear that you've put in a ton of work. Good work. Now, so for today's flight, I found 3 more things that can get better. Okay, please notice how I said that, can get better, not we're bad today. It's putting a hopeful spin on it. It's putting a positive spin on it. I'm not blowing smoke up their butts. I'm not telling them things that aren't true. I'm just phrasing it a way that you can do it instead of this was bad, right? So there's 3 more things today that can get better. Here's something that happened today, and here's another thing that happened, and here's another thing that happened, and here's how to fix it. So that is the second part of the good in what I like to call the crap sandwich, okay? The second part of what needs work, specific ways to correct it. If your feedback finishes if your feedback finishes with something that says it just needs more work, or you just need to practice more, and your students have no idea what to do except for just spend more time staring at whatever they were supposed to be staring at, then you haven't done your job properly. A maximum of 3 items and specific ways to fix it. For example, your students are, like, I'm a pilot, so your students are having a lot of trouble with consistency in landings. There's lots of reasons for this, but say one of the reasons is that they're having trouble with the transition to touchdown. So this is an approach attitude and a pull on the control column to a touchdown attitude where the main tires touch first instead of the nose wheel. Okay, so they're having trouble with that pull. It's either too slow, too fast, or whatever's happening. So instead of telling my student, well, your landings need work, practice more, because that's completely unactionable, they have no idea what they're doing wrong, I would then say, well, you're inconsistent in the rate of pull on the control column. Here is what to look at. You have to look at the end of the runway. You have to look at the nose, whatever they're having trouble with. Here's what to look at, and here's how to practice when you're not with me. That is actionable. Those are specific items that they can do by themselves. And then at the end of it, I'm going to leave them with hope that they can accomplish this. So I started with, look at what you've overcome. And then I went into, here's something else to overcome and you can do it. And the last thing is the good and the hope that they can overcome it. I've given you the specific ways, and I know you have it in you, and I'm looking forward to practicing more of this with you. I'm looking forward to seeing you overcome this. I'm looking forward to watching you learn this new skill. It doesn't really matter what you say. It doesn't even have to be I'm looking forward to. Just whatever words that feel natural coming out of your mouth that you can give them hope that they can actually do it. So this is a summary. We've covered the psychology on how to give feedback. This is an incredibly condensed version of the training that I normally give in the top instructors group. But my point is that there's a very specific way to give feedback. So you don't crush your student's spirit and go, oh, I got to show up and do this training tomorrow. Instead, they're going to come back going, okay, all right, here's what I got to do. Here's how I can practice, and I'm going to kill it tomorrow. I'm going to be an absolute rock star tomorrow. So I have lots more other trainings, but the one thing I really want to show you guys is that how you give feedback can either crush your student's spirit or motivate them in the future. Now, I do consulting work for flight schools and for instructors to help them improve in areas that they don't know that they need improvement on. And so a little while ago, I was going through a pilot training record. An instructor had come to me, and these are the notes that he writes out for his students. So I was going through the pilot training record, and I'm seeing some of the comments on the flights that he was writing for a student. And one of the comments was unmotivated and unprepared. Dude, did you actually say that to your student? And he goes, well, no, but it's just written in their pilot training record. Now, caveat, in Canada, the pilot training record is then delivered to Transport Canada upon application of the license. So this is public record. I said, the pilot training record is the property of the student. She owns this book. She can read it anytime she wants to. He goes, oh, like this isn't just like a way to vent about your student. He goes, well, I said that to her. I'm like, okay, any comments, any feedback comments need to be actionable to the point where she knows what to do to get better. Just simply putting her down in her permanent student file isn't a good way to go about this. Now, I have been through many, many instances of this, and I have compiled a full list of common mistakes. It could be more of a cheat sheet, Kimberly's cheat sheet on what not to say to your student, a cheat sheet on how not to give feedback. So if you want that list, send me a private message. I'm happy to fire it out. And other than that, I hope you guys have a really great day. Go kick some ass today. Bye.